Welcome to Detroit Table Talk. It's Saturday, and a sister struggled getting in here today. Listen, this sinus infection that I have. So, if you hear me sniffing, no, I ain't on that stuff. I'm just, trying to nurse these sinuses. It goes out one way, goes back in another way. It's too much. It's too much. I'm not used to being sick or in distress. That's what I am today, Rico. I'm in distress. I think I have went through 2 boxes of tissue just blowing my nose, and that's crazy. That is downright crazy. Today, you remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you that when we had a couple of guests on here, J Love and Tristan Duckworth, and we were talking about the young lady who is in Huron Valley Correctional Facility, and she is having a medical emergency. She has mold growing out of her ear. Um, do we have those pictures to just throw up there? She has mold growing out of her ear. She has mold growing in her lungs, and now it has started growing in her nostrils. So, whoo, child, that place have to be shut down. It's just not operable anymore. It's the original building for when they built it back in the 19, I don't know, 13, 16, something around there. The ventilation is horrible. Um, there is not enough ventilation to keep mold from growing. So even if they wipe the walls down, the mold will be back there within 2 to 3 days. So it's nothing that, unfortunately, nothing that anyone can do. So this week, I told you guys I have a very special guest. I have Joseph Spicer. He is a ex correctional officer, and he's willing to answer some questions. But he's also an author of I Would Not Be a Pawn. I met, listen, I met this gentleman at my second job. Y'all know I got about 10 jobs. So, out of 10 jobs, one of the second jobs, I met this gentleman. And I just walked up to him and we were talking and stuff like that. And um, we just really just started talking.
Yes,
And it was like I had knew him forever. And he started telling me about a book he wrote. No, I would tell him, I said, "Oh, your story be good. You need to put in the book."
Yes.
And he said, "Oh, I did. I wrote a book."
Yes, I did.
So that's one of many. So I want you guys to welcome Mr. Spicer to the table on today.
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen.
Do we have hand claps?
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I told him he should write a book. He said I wrote one, and he said it's in the car. So we talked for a little while, and I went out to the car to get the book, and he signed my book. Don't forget that's my book.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So he signed my book, and he told me that he was on his way
To Los Angeles.
to Los Angeles.
For award ceremony. A storyteller International Impact Book Awards. They held out in Los Angeles.
I need to be down. I got 3 books.
Yes, indeed.
I have my first book, Covenant Relationships, Understanding What God Desires for Us. Then I have my second book, Life Happens, How God Sustained Me. And then I have my third book, which is a children's book on autism, Let's Be Friends. So you are watching 2 authors.
Yes. The key is putting it in those awards ceremonies and book awards. That's the key.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joseph Spicer, born and raised in Detroit.
Detroit.
I went to Detroit Northwestern High School.
I ain't gonna hold it against you.
Graduated in 1982.
You know any of the renders?
The renders, they would know me.
Ah!
I come from a large family, so
no, my family all sung.
Oh, they
so,
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
My aunt was part of the original Supremes and all that stuff.
Oh well.
And the Falcons.
Yes. I can recall that name now.
But they would know you, huh?
Well, I'm just saying. But I did. I played basketball, and I was an all-city, all-state basketball player coming out of school.
Okay.
Uh, just through my journeys, I was inspired to write a book
Man.
towards the end of my career.
Now, had you always wanted to write a book, or you just felt like you needed to kind of digress, or not digress? What's the word?
Release.
Release everything that you had seen inside the four walls.
You know, it just took time throughout my journey, playing sports and then working inside the system
Okay.
and interacting with young men that were incarcerated,
Mhm.
as well as older men. Towards the end of my career, all I can tell you is I was tapped on the shoulder and said, take the people on the journey.
Wow.
Take them to school. I got your back.
And that was God who was
Yeah,
doing the tapping.
That has to be.
I love it.
Yeah. Because the competitiveness in me gave me that challenge towards the end of my career and say, you know what? I could interconnect my sports background,
Mhm.
because a lot of people saw me in sports and thought I should have been at a pretty higher level, and they wondered what happened
Mhm.
and what even made me connect and go into the career I did. So I was able to intertwine the two of them and take people on a journey, a fascinating journey that eventually I will win awards.
So why
for this
didn't you
book.
go off to play ball?
I did go off to play ball.
Okay.
I went to college. I tell the
Did you
story.
get hurt?
I tell the story within my book. I
Okay.
went to invite camps.
Uh-huh.
I won awards at invite camps. I signed autographs for these young kids at invite camps, where this guy Dick Vitale, I don't know if you know him or not.
That-
He's
the Caucasian coach?
college
College
coach. Yeah, because
okay.
he coached UAD here as well as
Yes.
Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
So after he got fired from the Pistons, he became a college analysis, and he worked the camps. And this one particular camp I went to in Pittsburgh,
Mm.
I ended up winning awards, and he was the MC at the camp. And when he seen Detroit Northwestern come up,
Uh-huh.
he had coached this guy named Terry Tyler. He coached him at UAD,
Yeah.
and then he coached him with the Pistons. And so when he saw Detroit Northwestern come up, he just started calling me diaper dandies, this different names. And by the time I got off the stage, I was signing little kids wanted to sign me a few autographs. So that kind of, when I got back home, that kind of made me I won't say big headed, but made me want to just direct to my college to one particular school.
Okay.
So I was turning down scholarships that were coming my way before my senior year in high school. So I did go to college. I turned down Eastern Michigan, Oakland University.
I went to Eastern Michigan for maybe like 2 semesters.
Okay.
Got homesick and came on home.
Yeah, I turned down
45
those
minutes
schools.
away. That's sad.
Yeah. And then I'm going up north to a school up north, a Division II school. I didn't mind, because my whole goal coming out of high school was to get to college and better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else would be icing on the cake. So that's my journey.
So how long did you play before you decided to go into
I sat out a year.
Okay.
Then I played 1 year, and I started playing against some guys I played in high school against. This one guy from Detroit Southwestern was at Bowling Green, and Keith Taylor, and we played against them just before Christmas. They beat us by about 15, but I dropped 23 on them, and I knew this Division II school wasn't for me. So I ended up transferring down south to Mississippi Valley.
Okay.
Jerry Rice was in school down there at the time. And so I stayed that 1 year, and somehow being down there, they tell you how good you are, but you only have $20 in your pocket. That wasn't going well when you got a girlfriend in Florida. So when I came back home, summer of 85, or September 85, that's when the prison system, because of the crack cocaine era,
Yeah.
opened up the doors, and somehow I got a letter stating if you gave us 25 years, you can have health care and pension the rest of your life.
25 years.
Yeah, of working
Yeah.
for them. So I
That's
weighed my
crazy.
options on that and said that I can do anything I want after that. My options will be, you can maintain your own control of your own destiny at that point.
Mhm.
Let me go take that challenge. And
Okay.
that's what led me down the road of working in MDOC, Michigan Department of Corrections.
So how long did you work at Michigan Department of Corrections?
Eventually, it took me 29 years because you had to be 51 years old.
To retire?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Or you could retire, get 10 years, you can retire and just wait till you turn 60. But
So let me say that again. How many years do you have to work there to retire?
it was a combination. You could work 15 years, you can work 10,
Okay.
but you won't pick up that pension and health care until you're 60.
Okay.
But if you work 25 years and it was a target age of 51,
Mhm.
you can start collecting health care and a pension the rest of your life.
Man,
But it took me 29 years because I started so young.
can you give us a little background experience as a correction officer?
Yeah, me myself, I eventually end up working up north. I started up north at a maximum security prison,
What's the place up north?
Marquette
Marquette. Okay.
Branch Prison at the time.
That's like 4 or 5 hours away.
No more, seven, about
7?
seven to
So
eight.
when you go across the bridge,
You're
which
in
one comes first?
Kinross, Chippewa.
Kinross.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So those are the ones right across the bridge. You got to go at least
You got 2
2 and
more
a half.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
To get to Marquette, and
It's definitely a drive because I had to drive it.
yeah, and I didn't mind because I went to school at Lake Superior State College.
Okay.
So was familiar with the Upper Peninsula, and I knew the state. With the state, after you get a year in working with the state, you could transfer anywhere you want. Pretty much, you can transfer.
Now, did you live up there?
Yeah, I moved up there for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, stayed up there for 2 years. I didn't have much of a problem because you had Northern Michigan University up there. I got a chance to play ball against them.
Okay.
So I would stay around the campus. They had dorms around the campus, so that was a place to stay right off campus. You had a mixed group of ethnicities up there. You had a big military base.
Mhm.
So there was some comfort up there. The college kids, the same age you were,
Yeah.
and but you were in a career. So I had kind of like the best of both worlds at the time.
What are some of the most memorable aspects of working for the Michigan Department of Corrections?
Most memorable.
They could be positive or
Yeah,
not.
well, I mean, the camaraderie later on in my career, that helping to have younger correction officers be mentored and see them pursue their careers, whether it was within corrections or going to parole, probations, different, or moving up the ladder. So a lot of that is very memorable. I got baptized, I'll say, soon as 6 months within working in the system, especially up at that high level of
When you say baptized, you're not talking about take me to the water.
no, I'm not talking
You're
about
talking about you got
eye-opening
acclimated into
eye-opening experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, eye-opening experiences that I within my first years of working in the prison system.
Woo. So wait a minute. Now, what was initially your reason for working? Just was
25 years,
just to make money.
pension, healthcare, peace of mind.
Okay.
If you can lock in a nice salary and healthcare, then you can go create your own business.
Mhm.
You just have so many options, and I mean, they would make about, well, like what people are going through now is pensions are gone.
Yeah.
There are no pensions.
Man, that's sad. You work hard thinking that at some point in your life you can retire and go on to live a beautiful life until God calls you home.
That's it.
And the government mess up your money.
Yes, control your destiny, and
It-
it's been
yeah.
pensions taken away from folks. But working on the state has to balance their budgets. So that was one thing that
And the first thing they do is steal from the people.
yes,
Ain't that
Yeah.
a boo?
but they have to balance their budgets. So like with the city went bankrupt, city of Detroit
Yeah.
at the time, and it took away a lot of people's hard-earned pensions where they had to even work longer just to jump into other, whether it's their health care, you had to go to 65
Hmm.
and just continue to work without any the end, unless you put money away.
And that's what I don't think people, even thinking about the mayoral race now, I don't think people understand that um, people want and need their pensions. And that's something that's on the table with this new mayor.
Even if it's a partial pension,
But I shouldn't have to get partial when I put in full.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, it's just that brings about some peace of mind because everybody can't be a business person.
Yeah.
It seems like this country, and they assume that, oh, you can be a business person. Everybody can't. You'd be stepping on other people's toes,
Hmm.
and it just doesn't work like that, in my opinion.
Now, I'm doing my dissertation on the lived experiences of African American in interactions with law enforcement. And one of the questions that is going to be, or that is on my survey, I want to ask you the question. How did your experience on the job, of course, with them, it's going to be how did their experience or encounters with law enforcement, shape your perspective on the criminal justice system?
Again, to go back to when I said I was baptized, it was certain experiences I learned dealing with lifers up north that showed me and taught me that deal with people with respect, deal with people where they are, listen to people,
Yeah.
and you will get the best communications both ways between the two of you. And really, policing, that's what policing is and should be in the communities.
Absolutely.
I believe it's about communicating. It shouldn't be about authoritarian, what I say. No, that's not policing.
Yeah, I watch a lot of videos, and at the end of the videos, sometimes I just sit back and say, now, how could that experience, have been different if both parties respected each other?
Mhm.
I, reflect back on a week ago, I got pulled over. I was wrong. I was driving Miss Daisy, and I was like, I got stuff to do. So I caught myself going around her in the middle, lane, the two yellow lines, and getting in front of her. And I just thought I was going about my business. Well, a couple of blocks up, I looked at my rear view. It was a black truck, and I'm thinking like, oh, that's a really shiny black truck. I didn't realize it was a police officer. So when he pulled me over, of course, he said, driver's license and insurance, registration and insurance. So when he pulled me over, I had went in my wallet and got it. So when he came to the window,
Would you say what community this was in?
It was Southfield.
Okay.
Southfield Police.
Okay.
And he stood there and he asked me, he said, do you have a firearm? I said, oh my God, yes, I have a firearm in the vehicle. He said, now what are you supposed to do when I come to the car? I said, I'm so sorry. I said, my mind was just getting to work. I said, I'm supposed to let you know that I have a firearm in the vehicle and this and that or whatever. And, he took my license and stuff like that. And he asked for my registration. I said, I can pull it up on my phone. He said, no need. Because they run your stuff.
Sure.
They know that you have insurance.
Yeah.
I said, I'm fully covered and stuff like that. And he walked to his car. He was only gone for like a minute or two. He came back. He said, I'm just going to, give you a warning. He said, now remember, if you ever get pulled over, say that first. Then, have your stuff ready. And I said, I appreciate you because encounters can be totally different. If you respect them.
Yes. That's considered policing. Like I said, I don't want to get into the street policing because that's not my experience. But I do know that it goes hand in hand with even working inside the
I was about to say it's the same in corrections.
Yeah, you can't.
You respect them, they'll respect you.
Yeah, you can't bring your feelings and whatever is happening outside. Unfortunately, you were having a lot of that, whether it was with the female guards, with maintenance, or with nurses, bringing personal feelings inside this institution doesn't sit well
I
in the
would
long
always
run.
tell people it's more of them than it is you.
Yeah. Yes.
So you treat them well. At some point in time, my son was incarcerated, and a couple of times a week I would go see him, and I will always remind him of that. I don't care what you don't think is right. Just make sure you respect them. Because they can make your life a living hell while you're in here.
Yeah, that's amazing. When the younger officers don't understand the power of that pen that
Yeah.
could keep a guy who's may have took a 2 to 5 or a 2 to 10,
Mhm.
and the power of that pen could keep that person in there 8 more years. And if that young person or that person doesn't understand that on the other end who's incarcerated,
Mhm.
and they use anger and frustration, all it does is continuously build up and add on and add on. So what you're saying is true.
Can you give us some insight or perspective on correctional officers, in general? Like going inside of a place that you have to be for 8 hours plus, I'm saying a plus if there's a lockdown.
Mhm.
Because you got to stay, right?
Yeah, you can get mandated, especially if you're the lower people on the
Total pole.
yeah, unless someone wants to work overtime and make that money. Uh, it's uh, it's it's gotten a little different since I retired in 2015.
Hmm.
Uh, I try to make sure to let folks know, young folks know, try to have a balanced life. Your life outside of here should have some kind of balance to it. In this region, correction officers would get away with a little more than what they would in other regions because they really had you in a isolation where they didn't want you even dealing with your loved ones who were incarcerated,
Mm.
friends. That all those things could be fireable offenses. Back when I started, could be.
I know I had applied for a correctional officer position, and I went through the interview process. I went through, taking the physical agility and conquering Bertha.
Nothing.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I thought I was
yes,
gonna die,
that's the one. Yeah.
um, but when she started telling me the responsibilities and just going down some of the things that you want to watch out for and this and that, I sat there and in my mind, I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I want to accept this.
Yes, yes, it can be tough. Again because if you're dealing with family or neighborhood friends who can't respect that boundary
Hmm.
for you, and it can make it very tough and challenging for you.
What are some of the misconceptions that the public have about correctional officers? Or is there any misconceptions? Is it what we hear? It is what it is.
That all
Okay.
that all that all correction officers are corrupt and crooked. They're only always been a saying that you're only one step from the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you behave in that manner, yeah, you are. That's true. If you behave in a certain manner, then yes, you are.
Now, have you seen stuff that people, other, colleagues had to be corrected on, and or lost their job because of?
Yeah, and once it gets to that point, they've lost their jobs anyway. They've been corrected on being comfortable.
Okay.
What happens is you get comfortable, and it's like what you said about setups. You could be watching sports with some of the inmates,
Hmm.
and then the next thing you know, you joking, betting on something. They got you betting and saying, "Oh, I'll bet a Snickers," you know, uh, to your Snickers, and Snickers may lead to something higher. "Oh, I'm gonna bet you a Snickers, but and then you have to
But not only that,
bring me a cologne,
that's one of the things the
cigarette."
ladies told me in the in the interview. She said it may seem like it's harmless. You get away with it once, twice, or whatever, and as soon as you don't give them inmates what they want,
The pressure, they put
they will.
pressure on you.
Yeah.
They put pressure on you, and a lot of times it's not just them. It's somebody bigger and badder than them
Hmm.
letting that person you're connecting with put pressure on. But it's someone putting pressure on him.
So they
or
can see
her.
something from across the room, pick
Absolutely.
something up, and now that person you operating with may not want to even take it there, but now they telling them, "Hey, you better ask for this. You better ask for that."
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I just seen something this
Absolutely.
morning. I don't know if you read it, where you had a CO selling chicken wings inside of the correctional facility. Um,
What
and
it
I
was it
think
wasn't in Michigan. What
I can't remember. I just read it and said, "Okay,
one of the things that was during the time out in the 2000s, you will find whether it was in Alabama, North Carolina, different states,
mm-hmm,
the salaries uh, would affect
yeah,
what goes on. Because in Alabama, Mississippi's, they were only making like $12 an hour, where we were making 25, 24, $25 an hour. That's a bigger incentive than 12. Even in Texas, those uh,
that's still
correction
not
officers,
enough." Because
right?
when you go inside
Yeah.
that door, I used to say all the time,
Yes.
even when I went to go visit, a couple of times a week, I felt like I was serving time during that those hours that I was there. I mean, I know it's not,
Was-
the same, but
Right.
what I'm saying is you got to go behind locked doors. You walking in, there's gate slamming and stuff like that. It was traumatic.
You have to go as a professional. It's a profession, and you got to take a professional approach. That should be what you take. I learned that early on, and by me being up at a higher custody level
Mhm.
and dealing with some of the baddest guys in the state of
So
Michigan.
you did maximum security?
Yes, I did maximum security, and it's just that I got this inner sense about myself that when I was up there working and walking some of those cell blocks, I would say to myself, "Man, you up here with an all-star crew of guys of who's who within the state of Michigan. Some of the baddest gangsters and high-profile prisoners that in the state."
Wow.
I was in my housing unit where we would have to walk them to the shower with two officers, and they were in
Just for them
belly
to shower
chains, just
with
for them to
chains
shower,
on?
and a strap. So one of the officers
Jeez.
would be holding the strap,
Mhm.
and then you only take one out at a time, and you had 10 showers down there, and you would give them 5 minutes in the shower, lock them in that shower, take the chains off, let them shower, bring another one down. So, and my whole mindset was like, this is modern day slavery.
Absolutely.
That was my first
Absolutely.
experience because I had never uh, been around cells, whether it was state, local lockups or anything. I hadn't been around them. So
So at what point, you being a correction officer, you decided, okay, this is not for me anymore? Like, what did you start seeing? What was the experience like?
no, the goal was to get the pension.
Okay.
I could have I had enough respect and enough uh, education where I could have went back, and I was only a year away from getting my college degree.
Okay.
But as I 2-3 years into working, I knew that I just didn't want to move up because I just saw too much politics within moving up the ladder within the system
Hmm.
and the games being played. So I just kept my goal of getting that pension so my peace of mind I could be more flexible moving forward in life.
Now, I remember us having a conversation, and you were talking about a warden that was walked out.
Yeah. That was towards the end of my career. I didn't get the memo. And what I mean by I didn't get the memo, there was like in any prison, you're going to have drugs.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a major drug. Uh, it wasn't a drug bust as rooms were shaken down. There was major contraband found within one of the prisoners' cells, cell phones. I can't tell you what kind of drugs because it was wrapped in different colored tape,
Hmm.
gloves, but no, it was some kind of contraband. And to make a long story short, it was all turned in, put into the state police evidence box, and that came up disappeared. And the prisoner who had it did not go to a higher custody level. If something like that happens at back when I was working
Mhm.
at any facility, that prisoner would be moved to the highest custody level.
Right. Right. So he didn't go to the hole or anything.
He did, but he was able to visit. You shouldn't even have been able to visit your family.
Right, because
The
all your
next
privileges are
the
taken.
next day, he was able to visit his family.
So they was wondering how was this prisoner still operating like he was in general population.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's some kind of inside sting from the feds or
Mhm.
whatever. Somebody trying to see how far these drugs can go through out the state prison system. I have no idea of any of that. Like I said, I didn't get the memo, and I was at the end of my career
Mhm.
when this one deputy warden asked me to be part of this going in these rooms. I had told him, I'm like, man, I'm 2 years away from retiring.
You didn't want no smoke.
Well, I didn't. It's not that I didn't want any smoke. You need to get these people who are going to be here.
Okay.
I've been in 27 years within the system and had mad respect. Guys had mad respect for me. The way I
Okay.
carried myself and the way I dealt with
You talking
them.
about the
Prisoners,
prisoners.
yes.
Mhm.
The way I dealt with them. So at this point, I wish I could have retired at 25 years, but of course it took me 29. So once he gave me
Excuse me.
wanted me to be part of this, I wouldn't
Mhm.
turn him down.
Okay.
And just happened to be a mother load of contraband in this particular room, which made me shake my head because my 27 years at the time.
You have never seen nothing like that?
Yeah, you never. Something will get distributed all throughout the system, all throughout the prison. So
So that means somebody was bringing it in from the outside.
yeah, or he was. I can't say who was. I
Yeah.
know that his roommate at the time, and this what was so puzzling as I find out later, because like I say, I was always isolated, wasn't into the know of who's doing
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
within the prison. I had my own area I was dealing with, but he had a roommate the day before they got found with some contraband going on a visit. That roommate told on him.
Whoa.
So if your roommate goes to the hole the day before, what the hell you got anything in your room the next day?
You would think, oh man, they're gonna be watching. They may come back and do a second
See,
search.
they didn't do a first search.
Oh.
He was on a visit and just a couple of marijuana cigarettes in his when he came off the visit. And at this time, the state had got strict that you won't have visits for 3 years. So
Now, how did that happen? Because I know when we would go in, we used to have to take off our socks, shoes, socks, and we had on we couldn't even have on a jacket like this.
Yeah.
You know,
I have no idea. I like it. I don't know. I
they
never
wind
worked.
you down, they pulled your
Yes.
bra up. I mean, everything.
Where there's a will, there's a way. But
Even they would take the baby diaper off when we
yes,
came
I
in.
didn't like all that. I didn't.
Take the baby diaper
didn't
off, and
like
we would have to
seeing that.
put their diaper on the baby.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't like seeing any of that.
That's crazy.
I didn't like seeing that. The system was just a very manipulative. I come to find out later on, even being up north, working
Mhm.
up north, where there was only 5 black officers up there.
Mm.
Somewhere down the road, I want to say 30 years later, some guys tell me, you know what, they were looking at you guys as possible bringing in contraband
Wow.
when it was these Caucasian guys who live up north.
Oh, but blame it on the black man.
Well, look what we got going on now in the society. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the hypocrisy and the trickery that's used.
So with your book, I Don't Want to Be a Pawn, how did you come up with the name?
It actually, believe it or not, it actually started off when I was in high school. And so when I put the book together, I refused to be a pawn. But when I put it through the search engine,
Okay.
it kicked back, I will not be a pawn. So when I say I started when I was in high school, so when I was in high school, we had some outstanding basketball talent throughout the city.
Mhm.
Cass Tech, Central,
Yeah.
Southwestern. You go on and on. East Side, Kettering, Northern, King. I could go on Cooley, which is guy Roy Tarpley who played in the NBA, came out of Cooley.
Mhm.
I lived 3 blocks from Cooley. I was supposed to went there, but that's a whole nother.
I went to Cooley for my 9th grade year. My 9th and my 10th grade year. And then I ended up going to a Catholic school.
Okay. I was supposed to
I went to Guest
Cooley.
Middle School down the street.
I stayed right by Cooley. Went up there my 9th grade year on a Tuesday. They told freshmen to come back on a Friday.
Mhm.
So I just never went back because I was playing basketball in 8th grade at McMichael. Even though I stayed by Cooley, I was playing 9th grade ball when I was in the 8th grade.
Summarize like your first chapter in the book.
Sure. My first chapter take you on the journey of my early career, my
Mhm.
family background, 12 kids. My brothers played
Wait, we're not gonna
sports.
slide past that. 12 children?
10 boys, 2 girls.
Like all out of your loins.
Not me, out of my mother and father.
Oh, okay, your
Yes.
mother and father.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying you had 12.
Oh, no, no,
I was about
no.
to say, woo, Jesus.
No, not
Okay,
at all.
that was common,
I mean,
with
right,
our parents.
right. That I'm saying when you say take on
Okay.
a journey of the first chapter of
Woo,
the book.
that threw me
That's
off.
the journey I take them on. Then I go into my sports background in high school
Okay.
and the decisions that made me go into working in that career. So
Now, let me ask you a question.
yes.
What are some of the things, going back to the prison system, what are some of the things that you encountered in there when it came to inmates? You just told us a story about some contraband that was
Yeah.
recovered.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that the inmates do that they think they're being slick at and they don't think that the COs know?
Well, that has to come with experience, though. It comes with experience because when you're a younger CO, you just acting on power
Mhm.
with that and don't understand that pen is dangerous for you yourself as well as for the person on the other end because you're stopping them from seeing their loved ones.
And that can cause that can cause a riot up in there.
It just can be dangerous. And I, like I said, when you're younger, you don't realize that. Playing, gambling, calling back home. If you're working, you got a job, you have sufficient enough commodities to sold food, chips to get you through the day, that month.
Yeah.
But you call your girlfriend, you call your auntie, you call moms to send you more money.
Mhm.
And those type of manipulative things that your family outside may need that more than you do. Because at the time when I was working, they could have bank accounts up to $2,500.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
Yeah, yes, they did.
I think now you
Yes.
can have maybe $50 on your account.
Yeah. Then it went down to 1,500. And what
Mhm.
guys would do, a lot of times guys would, they would go, they had a JC Penney catalog or East Bay. I want to
Yeah.
say East Bay.
Yeah.
So they would go get some Nike shoes that's size 7, size 6. You're a size 10 of 12.
Oh, so they would be picking something out the catalog for somebody else.
Yes. And that property officer say, you got to send this back home. So they sending this to their girl,
Yeah.
kids, to whoever. I'm some of that when you ask about some of the things that they would do that.
Now, did you, and I'm sure you have, working as many years as you have in the criminal justice system, how many times estimate that you seen correction officers really just, effing with the people? I mean, just
Oh, I've seen it.
irritating them for
yes,
no reason.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it, and you would get it a lot from some female officers.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot.
More
And-
females than the males?
yeah, because a man, he has to understand the consequences at some point. Somebody else may pull him aside and let him know that this is not right. Somebody who they respect. But you would have males do it, but females, for some reason, again, it's about balancing life. Balancing life.
Mhm.
That guy may remind her of her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, so now she treated him bad based off of the
Absolutely.
relationship she had with.
No question.
Wow.
No question.
So did you see a lot of immature women with power that they shouldn't have been
Yes.
able to have?
I don't think one of the biggest problems the state I felt was they kicked all the men out of the women housing units.
Yeah.
You know, that
Well,
$100
because
million
they were having
lawsuits
sex with
and
the
all.
women and raping the women,
It was having it was bad. It
allegedly,
was bad. Yeah,
but
but
not
on
allegedly.
on the other end, I don't care. It's some strong women out here, but
Yeah.
women should not be that indoctrinated into the men's housing units like they were. I've seen over my 29 years at least 33 women. So that means a woman a year get fired.
For having relations with
Yes,
the
yes,
male prisoners.
yes. And some had kids like in private schools and different
Wow.
different things they had going on.
They would risk their whole job, their career, their medical benefits, their life, their freedom.
Yeah, I guess they don't knowingly do it, but if you're around a person long enough, there's some very manipulative guys who have patience. One of the things that was funny with me that I learned was guys love to go to see the psychiatrists,
Okay.
especially a woman psychiatrist. They want to challenge her.
Challenge her mental state.
Yes.
See how strong she is
Yes.
mentally.
And they yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But we say it all the time. Those guys have 24/7 to think, to watch, to come up with stuff, to strategize, to watch your every move.
Absolutely.
They kind of map out who you are, and then they have conversations among each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me make this clear. All the guys in there, a lot of the guys in there aren't into trying to they're trying to get home. They're trying to get back. They understood their mistakes. They know they were the breadwinners. And that's one of the things I used to communicate with a lot of the guys. I don't care from what ethnicity.
Mhm.
Get back home to your mom. Get back home to your girl.
Yeah.
Get back home to your kid.
Yeah.
So, and with the younger guys, I would even speak to them and say, your homeboy may have wanted you here and you told him, take care of my girl while I'm gone.
And he taking care of her all right.
Got 2 kids by her and about to marry her.
One of the viewers said, yeah, I saw that a lot. My best friend had a lot of perks dealing with a woman, CO.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. You had some,
How did you keep your nose kind of straightforward?
my background, I was sports.
Okay, so the discipline and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and then
mental
working up
discipline.
north. And one of the things, first thing I would say, you come to me, I'm telling.
Okay. That's
So
what
we're
one
gonna
of the
make
ladies
this-
said in the interview.
gonna
She
make
said, you
this
better
clear.
say something before they say
You
something.
better make this clear. So that's one of the things that
But not only telling, does that mean you're writing them a ticket?
no, just basically if you come
Covering your butt.
if you're coming to try to ask me to give you something
Mhm.
or anything, we're gonna get this clear right out. We're gonna get this. A ticket will come too if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't even want to deal with that. They don't even want to. And that word.
So they know who
that word
they
gets
watch and they know
around.
who they can play.
Yeah, they do. They do. And they're watching you. And if your character is consistent, then
Yeah.
a lot of them have mad respect. What happens is a lot of COs get in trouble because they play both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
I want to be cool with you because I'm from the neighborhood. I want to be cool. I was a square, but in here I'm about to show how cool I am,
Yeah.
which is setting them up for something they shouldn't be involved in.
Thank you for calling Detroit Table Talk.
Good afternoon, Dr. Carmen. This is Dr. Bertaji.
Hi, Dr. Bertaji.
I was listening to the show. Very, very good content. I like the show. It's something for me to think about as I matriculate through the community. I just had one quick question. How do they handle mental health when you're in prison?
Well,
Inmates may have mental health issues.
Sure. They have meetings. They have psychiatrists at the facility. They get their medication while they're there. I've seen medication lines that's quite long. The problem with mental health is once they get out, they don't have any primary care.
Yeah. So they can't continue that.
Yeah. And whatever they get, they may sell once they get on the streets. So they're back on the streets, and now they're dealing with the street guys who may tell them, I got some mental health drugs for you. and we know what kind of mental
Okay.
health drugs that is. But they do work with them while they're in there.
But you, excuse me. But the young lady that we're trying to, really get some assistance for, Crystal Clark. You have COs and psychiatrists or whoever that's withholding her medication. You know, that's punishing her because she's leaking a lot of the information that's going on inside. So they done took her little walker from her. So that has to like really mess with her mental state.
That's
That
that's when you bring in a legal team. There should be some kind of legal team
and
that,
they all are like in cahoots.
and she has to make sure
Look at
she
that.
does a paperwork.
Look at her face. Wait a minute. You said
A paper trail.
yeah. And what she does, she does a paper trail, but she also like this is after the stroke, and them not giving her medication, and you got mold growing out of her ear, her lungs, and her nostrils. That has to her mental state has to be, diminished.
Does she have family outside of?
She has family, and they're fighting as much as they can.
Okay.
With people from the outside that's trying to get her assistance. I know. Okay. Dr. Vatanji, you still on
I'm
the
here.
phone?
I was just
Oh,
listening. Yes,
yeah.
I'm here. That's a great point. But sometimes we have young men that may be cognitively impaired and they go in for minor crimes. Like I was looking at, I think I sent it to Rico a couple weeks ago. A young lady, she had autism. She got arrested at Target for shoplifting, and she had to spend time in there. So I was just wondering, how do they handle those cases?
She had mental health problem.
She was an artistic young lady.
Okay. Yeah.
She went into Target in Florida, and I think she stole about $60 worth of things. And she had to do some time.
That key word you just used was Florida.
Yeah. Different states have different policies on how they deal with the mental health. Here in the state of Michigan, for a minute, they just lumped them in within the prison system. They had to come back with a separate policy on that.
So they just put them in general population,
Yes.
until they really fight for themselves.
Yes. And then
they don't get the assistance.
Exactly. That's so definitely other states, all the states are different how they handle mental health. We had the closure back in 99 with under Governor Engler.
Yeah.
That put people out on the streets, Eloise and Northville and different places. And they just lumped them in. We had guys would come up to me and say, hey, I shouldn't be in the room with this guy. And I'm like, what you talking about? And he would tell me some of the mental, he would be sleeping and the guy just would be standing over him.
Wake up and
staring
open his
at him,
eyes and
just
he
looking
be
at
staring at him.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
God, that got to be scary. I'd be like, I'll be saying some more choice words.
But just different states have different policies that deal with mental health. You hope that they are better now.
I think the young lady that she's speaking about, I think she stole $46 worth of stuff. And when she finally went in front of the judge, it was 50 days later.
They should have never had her in there. You should have
for
some
petty theft.
Yeah, you should have some diversion program for a lot of stuff that's out here, even here in the state of Michigan, in the city of Detroit. There should be a diversion program, and have people who are seriously trying to help redirect people's mindsets and some of their actions.
Now, when we talk about mental health for prisoners, how is the mental health of the COs? And how do they get the help that they need?
There never has been a check of mental health for the COs for the most part.
Wow.
Unless you're crying out for it. And yes, it is some COs that have mental health.
So they
problems.
don't say every so often you need to go sit down and talk to somebody. If you are in front of somebody who just got murdered or shanked or
Oh yeah, if it's a violent assault, they can have you
they
step
mandate
aside.
you to go.
Yeah, or death. Yes, basically, yeah, they'll offer it to you. They may make you take a day off or so.
And that's it.
Yeah, I've come across. I've
You said
encountered
offer it, so it's not
Yeah.
something they saying you have to
Right.
go for so many hours.
because I've encountered 2 deaths while I was working towards the end of my career.
Okay.
One guy came back from healthcare, white guy. I sent him over there about 12 noon. Just before 1:15, before I was about to leave, the officer brought him back, and he said, "I'm going to die on you guys."
Whoa.
So I was getting off at 2 o'clock. The guy was sitting down on the toilet, went out his room, sat on the toilet. And just before I was getting off, I seen him slump over. Thank God a captain was coming by. I say, "Look," and the guy was laying there dead.
What did he do? Stab himself?
No, I mean a medical condition.
Okay.
Yeah, we sent him over to healthcare. They
No-
should have kept him or sent him out for some
Now,
follow
are
up,
COs, God, what is the name of it?
not medically.
They exempt from anything happening to them, from them being sued
No,
when it comes
no.
to.
If you're liable, because if I was liable at that time, that would have been a problem.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vatanji, for calling.
Thank you for taking my question. I appreciate you guys. I'm about
Thank
to
you.
get to work and not feeling my best today.
Oh, okay. Share the live.
Bye-bye. I am.
So are the COs exempt? Like if something happened to a person, like say for instance, somebody is in and they're saying, "Hey, I don't feel well. I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the doctor." And you keep telling me ain't nothing wrong with you, go lay down. And just what?
That would, but most of the times, again, you send them over there. The problem there was the nurses sent them back.
But are they?
They can.
They're covered.
No, they can be. It depends on if the family or somebody presses that issue.
So like, let's go back to COVID. A lot of them people were saying, "I can't breathe," and this and that, whatever. And the CO's like, "Just go lay down, go drink some water."
Yeah. That was,
And the people were just dying where my son was in front of them.
That was unusual. I wasn't working. Like I retired in 15, so
5 years before you.
yeah,
I mean, after you.
I was at the hospitals working by then. But that had to be. I'm a strong-willed person working. I don't know if I would have kept working in the Department of Corrections during those challenging times.
When we have our legislators that now they can't. It used to be where our legislators can just drop in and walk through. Now they have to give them 48-hour notice.
To go inside
the prison.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
So
they can clean up some stuff. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I just don't get it. And if they see something, why don't they say something?
They want to cover. They don't want lawsuits. They don't want the department looking bad.
How well did the warden work with you guys as COs? Did they ever come out of their office and walk through the pods to see what's going on, talk to the prisoners, hear their complaints, have meetings once a month?
They have, you have a prisoner forum. You have people who go speak to the wardens. I think, towards the end of my career, it was more of some political power moves going on, because we had 2 prisons next to each other.
Okay.
Which, as I was rounding out my career, I thought were ideal prisons for people from the city of Detroit or the Metro Detroit area to be closer to their families and help rehab them to get back home. Unfortunately, some of the people they had in those positions were just using them as power moves. I don't know if it's real trying to be real cool with the guys who were locked up, some prominent people.
Now I remember
it was messy
when my son was locked up, and I guess they give them a book for them to read when they go in, the rights and and stuff like that, the rules of the prison. So he goes and he reads the book from front to from cover to the last page. Sure. So then he starts saying, "Hey man, I just read in the book, this is not supposed to be happening."
He was saying that too.
He was saying that too. And for a minute, it was like they were trying to put him in the hole. And one day the warden walked through the pod.
Where was he at?
This is up in Lapeer.
Okay.
The warden walked through the pod And he would say, hey man, you know your COs be doing this and that and that. In your book, it says this and that. Y'all want us to follow the rules, but then y'all not for, you know. And they were trying to put him in a hole. So pretty much the warden told him to put him in a hole. And yeah. So he didn't stay, you know, after he did his walkthrough and stuff like that. After a couple of hours, he went and talked to him. And he said, listen, you're a very intelligent young man. He said, a lot of these people are not as intelligent as you. He said, but I can't have you, you know, pointing out everything that's wrong because it is a incite a riot.
Yeah.
You know, because when you notice, you know, when
that's
he's
one of the
talking,
tools. That's one of the tools the officers will use.
Yeah.
Or a supervisor would tell the officer to use.
So yeah, he told him, he said, man, I'm gonna let you go back to the pod. He said, but I need you, you know, if you got something that you want to say, you know, write something to me, give it to them and tell them to, you know, send it to me. He said, but they ain't gonna give it to you and this and that. He said, I'm gonna instruct them that if you write something down to, you know, to make sure that I get it. And he let him go or whatever. And when he was finally, because I didn't talk to him in 2 days.
Lapeer had become like 25 and under or something.
Yeah. Okay. They took most of the HIDA programs. And I was like, boy, I was worried. I was calling the warden office like, hey, I haven't heard from my son. He calls 100 times a day. What's going on, this and that? Yeah, he was in the hole. But how does that, I know for me, I call the warden all the time. Pretty much every day. They would be like, oh, Miss Evans, he just walked out. He'll call you when he get back in. And at first it was like, okay, he wasn't calling. But I was so persistent. I was like, I hope you know that I'm writing all these times down that he's not returning calls, the dates, the time. So he just started, you know, when I didn't hear from my son, I would call and say, hey, haven't heard from my son in 8 hours. What's going on? He would go down and check on him. He'll come back and he'll call and say, Mom, he's okay. He just, you know, he just said he's just been chilling or whatever. And I said, okay, well, you tell him to call me so I can hear his voice. Because I don't really trust you like that, you know. So did you find that some of the wardens tried to have a relationship with the prisoners, or it was like separation of church and state?
Yeah. When I was there, it was separation of church and state, supposedly. You know, you interacted with, you know, with the chain of commands. You had sergeants, you had counselors. They called them ARUS, assistant ROMs, resident unit, and ROMs. So it was these layers that was there that you really weren't dealing with you know, especially you really weren't dealing with any wardens or deputy wardens. Wow. Not that I know of, unless it was letters silently sent to them.
Now, were you guys ever able to talk to the warden?
No, I never really did, unless you got in some trouble.
That's the only time.
Yeah. And I experienced that. My first 2 years, my first year and a half up in Marquette. And, you know, that kind of shaped me also.
Yeah.
Because I was up there with a young man from Detroit. There was a couple of us up there. And we had just got up there and working. And this one individual said he was coming up there to MAC the town. And he had,
what does that mean?
Well, it was white young ladies. And he had Jerry curls.
Okay.
But he ended up running with the wrong circle within that town up in Marquette. And they tried to set him up. The Department of Corrections tried to set him up. Wow. And they had state police and corrections officers at this airport. And allegedly, they supposedly gave a prisoner a key. Now, this is a maximum security prison. They gave
a key to the bars?
To this locker at the airport.
Oh.
Somehow the key got into this young lady's hand, this Caucasian young lady's hand. And she went to the airport with the key. And they asked her, where did she get the key from? She said, from this officer. And so by associating with him, coming from the city.
They brought you in and questioned you?
Yeah, so like that. And I'm like, you know, that opened my eyes that you never know what the next man is doing.
Yeah.
So that kept with me through my entire life.
Like, let me come in, do my 8 hours.
And not just there, even coming back home, being in the city, you never know. That's an experience for any young man or woman. You know, you could be in the car with them and they tell you, hey, I'm about to go in this store.
Yeah.
Now you're caught up in something that
How
you
was
know.
the transition from being a CEO back to being just a civilian?
With me, I always worked out. I was playing, I always played sports, so I was always had something to do
Okay.
once I got outside of working there. Then there used to be a few times where the guys would get together and play, but for the most part, I was able to separate myself from that environment once I got out of there. I was always able to separate myself from that environment.
How did your career at that time impact your personal life and relationships?
Again, like I said, with that particular incident, and then working in that high intense environment, I used to come home and be around my family, and I would put my back against the wall.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just
So
not
you can
knowing.
watch everything that's going on
Well,
like you were still at work.
well, yeah. So into yeah. So that,
Now, is that
so
something that was told to you guys to do, or you just catch on real quick that,
yeah, it's a natural.
instead of
Yeah,
me
it's a
going back and
natural.
forth, let me
Well,
just sit?
if you're working, I've seen people get shanked. So I mean, you learn those things. You learn that if you wise and aware, you'll learn that real quick.
Wow.
You learn that real quick.
So looking back, what do you think was the most valuable lesson you learned from your time as a correction officer?
Appreciate your time
Mm,
in life, the simple things in life. Value them, enjoy, and if you can spread some positive knowledge to anyone else younger, listen and spread some positive knowledge and influence on others. They need it. Uh, I used to get guys come up to me and young guys as I talk to them and say, "Man, I wish you were my uncle or my father." I'm like, I wouldn't say it to them like, but I get where they're coming from
yeah,
because I was being real with them.
yeah.
All young folks want to know is the truth.
Now,
Be
when
truthful with them.
when the young people are up there, they have the old heads up in there. Now, is the old heads recruiting them, or they really trying to talk to them and say, "Hey, you don't want this life,"
They're basically
or
they
they teaching them how to be better criminals?
no they'll teach them if you're willing to listen.
Okay,
Don't come into their area and messing up their area where you have COs coming in their area
okay,
creating havoc. Then you're gonna have problems. They're willing to teach, especially a lot of your Muslim, Nation of Islam
yeah,
uh, type of individuals. You know, again, as a young person coming in at that time when I was there, it was a, I guess, exciting world. You got guys from the neighborhoods, until you understand that that guy from the neighborhood could step back and have you set up also.
yeah. That's one of the things that when my younger son was in. The older men kind of just pulled him in. The younger people would be around there acting a fool, and they'd be like, "Hey, young cat, hey, young bug, come over here and sit down."
You have to be willing to receive it,
You
though.
know,
You have to
and
be
he
willing
was
to
always say, "Mom," every day he called. I mean, "What you doing?" I was just sitting here talking to the old heads. They was telling me about this and that and whatever, and they told me that I was gonna be okay. I just gotta, do this, do that. Um, when you got when I don't want to say when you got out, but it's almost like when you got out,
Mm.
because of being locked up every day for 8 hours. Did you have to get counseling?
Oh no, no,
You didn't.
no.
You just mentally just said, "I'm straight."
Listen to me some Earth, Wind, and Fire.
And
Listen to me
it's
some old school music. Like I said, I had a balance. Me, I can't speak on everyone. I just had balance.
okay.
Coming from a large family, and then I played sports, and I was pretty good. So I was kind of like a leader. So I know my responsibility. I couldn't come into this environment and just not be real. I come from the same neighborhood,
Yeah.
so I can understand what guys are going through. But at the same time, I want you out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in here playing or, you know,
Now, what do
letting
you
you just do what you want to do.
now with the book that you have out? Um, I will not be a pawn. What do you want to do with this book? What's your desire?
My goal when I was tapped on the shoulder, inspired to write it, was to get it in schools, get it to mentors,
Mhm.
get it to families, so families can just communicate with each other. Whether they like what's in it, they could say something positive, negative, but at least they're communicating. Because when I grew up, a lot of our conversations were around the table.
Yeah.
Where now people
Ooh,
are going to
yes.
their corners. Nobody's communicating. So at least bring about that communication within families, within these single
Ooh,
parent
excuse me.
families or people who traveling. Just make them aware that we better than this.
And that was the concept around Detroit Table Talk. Growing up with my granny and, before going into foster care, we'd sit around. She had a huge table because she had most of her grandchildren. Some of her children was out on drugs, stuff like that. They would drop the kids off to her. It would be a whole big table, us sitting around. Then we would go to the living room. Granny and granddad would sit up in there and talk, and we would be sitting on the floor just listening. And so, bringing Detroit Table Talk, I just wanted to bring conversations to the table.
Yeah, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
but at least we could, from the streets that I grew up on, you used to be able to walk down. Kids used to be able to play.
Hmm.
Uh, your elderly didn't have to pull their curtains down
Yeah.
and be intimidated. So I'm not saying I don't know if we can go back to that or not, but at least we failed. It's a generation that has failed the young people.
Yep.
I found that out too. I knew that as I used to come back home during the Young Boys Incorporated days, and
Yeah.
even talking to some of the guys who were locked up then, as these young men start becoming 19, 20, 21, and 22, as they look back over their 13, 14, 15 years when they were that age, they realize now how they were manipulated or played.
When you look at the recidivism rate, did you see a lot of young African American men in and out, in and out? They leave and you be like, "You back already?"
At a time, I didn't see them constantly coming back, but I know they were, because the pressures of the pressures, and if not being held accountable.
Mhm.
Whereas it's going to be pressures because the job market would be tough, and if you couldn't get a job, the most comfortable thing is to go back to what you know.
Yeah, what you familiar with. Man.
So
So if you were able to just talk to some young people as an ex-correctional officer, what kind of advice would you give them?
what I would talk to them as a person from their neighborhood, from the same community they from. I wouldn't, from a corrections officer's perspective, stay pretty much to yourself, get as much knowledge as you can, whether it's your GED, a little skills trade, and focus on trying to be a better person than you were when you came in. Because it gets tough when you get out in the street, back out in the community. It is tough.
And they can't find a job.
That
Nobody is hiring them once they, and of course now the law is you can't really put that question on the application.
Yeah.
Are you a
City to
felon?
city.
But what the way they counter that is we got to do a background check.
They did create opportunity to truck drive. Well, now it's about to go away. A lot of stuff is about to go away because of AI. But they were opening up truck driving a lot. I've seen a few guys go into that trucking industry.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends, her husband, when he got out, he did the apprenticeship program, and now he's like one of the top guys. He just got an award Friday
Okay.
for the city of Detroit, the Spirit of Detroit Award. But a lot of them are, he was focused when he got out.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? He had a why. A lot of these young people don't have a why.
Yeah.
They let the streets beat them down.
It's tough. You got the distractions, you got the distractions from maybe you have a kid, mom or two, and the pressures from that kid that you've haven't been around, and you want to try to show them, you're there for them. You want to try to show them financially you're there for them. Unfortunately, you may not be in that type of situation, but all these pressures have come, and it makes it tough and difficult.
What do you hope, your readers will take away from your book and your story?
I'd hope they just take the time to just pause when they're making decisions, especially decisions that's going to affect them
Mhm.
long term. Just
Yeah, because we got some hot heads out here.
yeah, just stop.
Breathe.
You know, take a pause.
Look at the end result.
Yeah, impulse control is one of the biggest killers of our community.
Do you think anger management help?
It does. But you have to practice. With me, I mean, I think you have to practice it early. Try to get at young folks early. I just see this.
'Cause we got young people crashing out.
Yeah, you could even see it in some young. I think I've seen 12, 13-year-olds.
I've seen
talk to them,
kindergarten. I'm a
say,
teacher during the
"Oh, you
day.
irritate me."
Kindergartners to be saying you irritate me or shut up talking to me or walk out the class.
You have to
They
catch-
5 years old.
Yeah, you have to be. I just think you have to be. If
You so
can, if
cool,
you can.
calm, and collective.
Well,
Is that you all the time?
Yeah,
or-
because coming from a large family, my brothers and all they did dirt, they did stuff. They would tell me the right thing, and then I look and say, "You're telling me one thing, but you're over here doing this."
Uh-huh.
But I used to listen, and I didn't. I used to not speak unless spoken to.
Okay.
So that type of discipline there, and
They said that a lot when we were younger.
yeah.
You know.
So all that rounded me out.
Man, so I really appreciate you coming to the table.
Thank you.
I
I'm
really
glad.
do.
I'm glad to be here, Carmen.
I hope that people will see correctional officers from a different perspective. Not all correctional officers are bad. Some of them are really in there to try to be a catalyst to help these young people and some of these old heads turn their life around.
And Department of Corrections shouldn't be afraid to expose themselves and show the truth in order to bring about a better organization.
That's kind of heavy. That's heavy. Expose themselves.
That's it. Yeah.
So who really is the checks and balances of the Michigan Department of Corrections? Because depending on what prison you go to, it's like they're doing their own thing.
It's supposed to be the attorney. It's supposed to be the Attorney General's office. It's supposed to be the wardens. Then go up to the top. But unfortunately, it's more of keep things covered up.
Hey, Richard,
I would think.
yeah. I get kind of sad when our young people have to serve time in prison, and of course they have to be held accountable for their behaviors. But I feel sad because although they have been convicted and sentenced, I don't feel like they should get another sentence inside of the correctional facility. I think that they still should be treated, like a human.
Like they said, there is a cure for cancer, but no one wants to. They don't want to cure it.
Is most of the
money.
prisons private?
No, they're not. But it's so funny you said that because I remember a few times where they had Black and Miles and Swisher Sweets in the prison.
What?
Yes, and it would go over people's heads, but it didn't go over mine. I'm like, what's the reason to have this? It's cancerous.
Yeah.
Eventually they
Say the package even tell you, the Surgeon General even tell you.
eventually they did away with it, but somebody was making money off this.
Mhm.
Like they make money off the phone calls and so forth. So it's money in it. It's big money in it to keep people incarcerated.
I want to get a couple of vending machines and put them in there.
It's money in it. Well, you just got to get it with the right people, I guess.
Do you know the right people?
No, I don't. Hey, I'm not.
Can you make some
I'm-
phone calls?
I
and
may be
find out for
public
me?
enemy number one with the Michigan Department of Corrections.
I don't think you're public enemy.
Well, I
number one.
mean, they won't allow this book in there. And I think this book is a teaching tool, not just for there,
well,
for the public schools here.
now to be fair,
Just
they don't want nothing in there that's going to
Inside.
incite or, cause a
I
riot.
understand. I understand.
So that's
Well, put it in your training program up in Lansing for
right.
your
For the
your
officers.
COs. Yes.
Yes.
But and also, like I said, the goal was to have this for mentors, teachers,
Mhm.
parents, just to connect, families connect, just be real with each other.
Or maybe you can hook up with the state, up there where they train the COs and say, hey, why don't you put this part of the training that the officers have to read this book?
They know of it. They have they know of the book.
They do.
So like I say, my goal, eating out of that, I
Mhm.
end up connecting with this screenwriter out of LA
Okay.
through some actors here. Well, old school actors here, and she put a screenplay together for me
Okay.
based off of this. And my goal is to connect that with someone or some producers or individuals. They can take this to a whole nother level, which would chase people back to the book. So that's one of that's one of the goals.
Rico.
So okay, and if you were to, I'll get this book, and I got. Oh, you were. See, you at Ryan. When were you at Ryan? Okay.
98 to 2000.
Okay, so I got over to Ryan. And when they closed Mound, and that's when within this book heats up to some other stuff. And basically, like I say, I just was holding those accountable because to me, I didn't like how I call it pimping your own people.
Yeah.
And that was my whole thing. Those two prisons to me were jewels to help get people back with their families.
You talking about Ryan and Mound?
Yeah.
Okay.
That should have been.
Yeah.
And I could see that. Like I say, unfortunately, I was just in an isolated level 4 housing unit, and I stayed in my area. Guys like to be in my area because, especially if you're not into any BS.
Yeah.
You
They know
'cause
they're
I
gonna be
wouldn't-
safe.
Yeah, yeah,
It's gonna be chill.
absolutely. Ain't no salts, no. You don't smell no drugs, no spud juice, and none of that. We're grown men. I don't care
Spud
what.
juice is like liquor. They make liquor.
Yeah, with potatoes or orange juice.
Oh wow.
I don't care what you do on the yard. You're not going to bring it back here. And that was my, comfort and where the respect came. A lot of respect came from that.
You are welcome back to the table anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come, hit me up and say, hey, I want to have a conversation about
Sure.
this.
Hey, like I'm retiring from at the college here, and my goal again, I'm searching to see what I really want to do.
Mhm.
I spoke to you a little about the foster care system that's about to
Yes.
open up.
Yes.
Where they want to help them transition back to the communities. I'll find my footing and let the Lord do the other travel. I'm just going to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And do my part.
And that's all we can do is
Yeah.
do our part to bring our community together and make sure that our community is safe and people are mentally and physically safe. So I think it's also our part to hold the fire to the feet of people who we have elected, who get paid to do a job and not allow them to get in these positions and sit dormant.
Mhm. Yes.
So I am really pushing for Nasser,
Okay.
Dingo, whoever else. Go into these prisons and do your job.
Yeah.
Make sure that the prisoners, and I understand people think, well, they in jail, they shouldn't have did what they do. They don't need this and that. That's inhumane.
But like you said, what is it, 48 hour? Now it's 48 hours
Yeah.
before they let you.
Yep.
So they can clean some stuff
So they can
up.
wash some stuff down and You know, I just think that that's unfortunate that they put those restrictions on our legislators when, you know, even people in prison should be able to call a legislator and say, hey, do you know this is going on? Now, when my son was in prison during COVID, I had the best state representative, Kara Bolton.
Okay.
And I would call and say, hey, you know, COVID, they're not giving them vitamins. They're not giving them nutrition, you know, a nutritious meal to build their immune system up. They're not giving them bleach to be able to clean. And, you know, they gave them these little flimsy, you know.
Well, they start contracting a lot of stuff out, especially back in 2011.
It's about a money thing.
Yeah. When you contract stuff out, it's about money. So who's who and who knows who to get your hands involved in the money.
But what I liked about my state rep was she gave me her personal cell phone. And she was like, when your son call me so that I can ask him questions, you know, so it's not going through you.
Sure.
I can ask him questions and I will have firsthand information, you know, and she was communicating with the people over the prison. And, you know, at first there was like opposition because people were just dying all in the prison, you know, and unfortunately they wasn't prepared for that time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But, you know, we say that phrase, if you are ready, you don't have to, you know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, you know. So when it comes to cleaning supplies and stuff like that, that should already be readily available.
Yeah, because that's something important. That guys will clean. Guys love their areas being.
Yeah. And my son's like on the OCD chart, you know, he'd be like, Mama, we need bleach. And you know, I'm starting to get sick and they not, you know, and that's one of the things I did like about even the prisoners at that time. My son would be telling me how he feel and they'd be in the background, Mom, don't worry about it. We gonna make sure he good. We gonna make sure that he don't die in here. You know what I'm saying?
They will look out for each other.
They look out for each other.
Yes.
They was making sure that he was getting, I don't know what they was giving him, but it helped, whatever it was. But we have to hold these legislators' feet to the fire.
Okay.
And they get mad at me quite often on Facebook. You know, we go back and forth, because it's not about electing your favorite person. You know, the person that you like, the person that your family had connections with. You know, I don't care if the person went to your barbecue. Are they the right person to get the job done? You know, and I'm fussing and fighting even about this mayoral election. You know, so yeah, don't say nothing.
I can't.
Fussing and fighting about this mayoral election. But we have to make sure that the right people are in office so that people can get the services they need, especially now.
We're in some troubled times. Yeah, we're in some times of awakening. You know, when I say times of awakening, I'm 61, so I've seen some harsh times, and we're getting back to some of these harsh times. I don't know if it's some of the positiveness that can come out of it is for us as men and women to get back together
as a community.
Yeah, and look at each other,
have each other's back.
Yeah.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, we are. Yes. You know, next month, unless they come up with a solution, there's no SNAP benefits. A lot of people are still trying to get their Social Security back on, senior citizens included. Yeah. Trying to get their benefits back on from when Elon Musk was cutting everything off.
You know, young people would have to, and I said this to a few,
they don't get it.
My family and all, that my niece and nephew, hey, the two of you may have to get together and pool your wages. You can get a home.
Yeah.
Both of y'all making $20 an hour. You can get a home.
Together.
Use that as an investment.
Mm-hmm.
Not, you know, the time of I just got my own. No, it's the time of connecting and investing and seeing a bigger picture, holding on to a little more of your money, your salary.
That's what I was telling my pastor. I said, man, y'all so, I said, certain people, it's all about my four and no more. You know what I'm saying? And we have to get out of that mentality.
It's a new way of doing things. Has to be.
We have to pull together as a community. We have to figure out, okay, what you got, what I got. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
You know, at least for... Y'all got sinus problems. Don't worry about it. At least for now. Because we all we got. Yes. Times is about to
get an investment.
Hard. Yeah. And we talking about the criminal justice system. Oh, they're about to be flooded. if people can't get the resources they need to take care and feed their families
I don't like that. So
at all.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you for joining us online. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the call. Thank you,
you're
Mr.
welcome.
Joseph, for
Thank you,
coming.
Carmen. Rico, thank y'all for having me.
And we're gonna get you connected to the right person so that we can make sure that not just a screenplay, but a movie come out of it.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
I have it.
I got a few connections. You know,
You have some folks who are waiting.
you know.
I have the.
Now, are you a praying man?
Yeah, I pray all the time.
You pray all the time?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you want to close us out in prayer?
Well, I mean, I individually pray.
Oh, okay. Well, Lord, we just thank you for this time. We thank you for the individuals that would be impacted by this conversation. We ask that you cover the people that are in the prison system. Lord God, change the heart of the king. And when I say the king meaning the warden, the COs, you know, allow them to stay in their position and show humanity while they're doing it. We ask that you cover all the inmates, Lord God. Allow them to know that their time will come where they too will be set free. And if not, we ask you to give them peace to be able to finish their time if they got time. We give you praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
We will see you back at the table again next week. Rico, am I right? Am I in the right place? Rico? Can you see my heart? Oh, wait. Let me break it down. Okay. Whatever. I love y'all. I'll see you next week.